at the start.
Right by Noah's head.
Alright, welcome to Bible study. Tonight we're continuing our weekly Bible studies, and tonight we're going to be talking about unity, teamwork, and communications. Let's back up here a little bit. We're going to be talking about unity, teamwork, and communications. With any luck, we're live broadcasting, and we're also recording for later viewing. That may or may not be accurate. Alright, is there an advantage to unity, teamwork, and communications? When one or more bind together to a task or goal, can it be good or bad? For good or bad, there's strength. So, as we work together, and who is unaware, what's easier if more than one person does it? Nothing? So, unloading wood is easier if you do it all yourself.
I messed up. Here's the question.
Alright, well, what is easier if more than one person does it?
Everything.
Everything. Well, not everything, but most things.
Pretty much.
And now that can be for the good or the bad. So when we look at as saints, when we do things together, when we go out and feed, we all work together to get that done. That's a good thing, right? And so it'd be impossible for me to feed 500 hot dogs in that amount of time, or you two, or you two, or you two. But if we work together, it's pretty easy. Well, what about some of the things our government does, or some of the things gangs do, or criminals, or wicked people in general?
Good, but it's
But they do it better, don't they? They're better at it because there's more of them. I heard on the news today, of course I don't know how true it is because we can't believe the news, but I heard on the news today that $26 billion is spent every day between now and Christmas on Christmas in America. Americans spend that much. And so if we took all those billions of dollars that the pagans go out worshiping Satan Claus, think of all that money, $200 billion that they could put to something. Helping their neighbor, getting out of debt. Why would you want to get out of debt? You want to be in debt. The more debt you have, the richer you are, right? But that just goes to show you, the more people that are involved in it, if you look back at World War II, Adolf Hitler was one guy, right? But he had a whole lot of people join in together with him. And look at all the bad he did. And he did that through unity, teamwork, and communication. So that's what we're going to be taking a look at. This whole Bible study hinges around just a few verses here. Genesis 11, 1 through 9. For those that don't know what this is out there, or if anybody in here is not familiar with it completely, it's the story of the Tower of Babel. And who wants to read this for me? Who wants to read the first half? How about that? All right, James, go ahead.
And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said to one another, Go to, let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime for mortar. And they said, Go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven. And let us make a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men builded.
All right, Pat, pick up there for me, please.
And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth.
All right, I've got some things highlighted here. We're going to take a look back at them. What I want us to pay particular attention to in this short set of verses here is they shared one language. They were of one language and of one speech. Why is that important? Have you ever tried to teach somebody something? You think we're still under being Babel? Well, we're still paying for their. Do you know how to do something real good? Anything, something you know how to do good, and then you try to tell me what you know. But
if you don't know what I'm saying,
we can't get it across, right? I think pretty much everybody in here I've tried to help with a computer problem in the past. Am I always very good at transferring my knowledge to your brain, or does it some yes. Right. So we're still dealing with that. They traveled together and shared a common destination. As they journeyed. So why is that important? Think why that's important? What if I wanted to go to Straightway and you wanted to go to Disney World in Florida, and we both were in the same van? What kind of trip are we going to have? Because the further I drive away from Disney World, what, the more sick you're going to get, right? If Mommy needed to go to Walmart and get some groceries and I wanted to go and get some firewood, and we got to go in two directions, that ain't going to work too good, is it? So we can already tell that these citizens of Babel, they were working together. What else did they do? They lived together. They found a valley, a plain, and they dwelt there. What does the Most High tell us to do? Dwell together, break bread. They agreed on a project together and its specifics. They said, let's build a city and a tower. That sounds like something not too big of a deal. Can you imagine everybody on earth? We don't know exactly how many people there were, but let's just say, shoot, let's look at this room. Let's say there's 10 of us, and we decide just at random we want to do something. And Noah says, what would you want to do, Noah? If we could do anything we wanted to do, we need to do something. What would you want to do?
Gotta learn about Xbox games.
Buy Xbox games. No one wants to buy Xbox games. Pay what you want to do. Something different than Xbox games? Anybody else want to get Xbox games?
Ah.
What about you, bro, James? What would you like to?
I'm the roofer.
Alright. Well, think about where. It didn't say they argued, but it didn't say nothing about argue. It said, they all said to one another, let's go do this. That means they agreed. They had a common drive. Let's all go do blah. It don't work like that anymore. We're still up under that. They didn't argue about the specifics. So let's say we all decide tomorrow we killing chickens. By the way, we are. But I say we're going to start about 8:30. Sister Kim's probably thinking, now Mike said we were going to have some sausage and gravy biscuits. So that means I got to start at, what time we going to start? Fixing 7. So I'm sure if her flesh got to pick what time we were going to kill chickens, it probably would, about 10, 10:30. What if you got to pick, Noel? Next week? 12, right. But see, they agreed on all the specifics. They didn't say they argued about it. They didn't say they formed a committee. They didn't say they argued, fussed. They would make it all themselves. Now this is very important. During this time, they built generally with rocks and mud. I could do a whole study. We could look very in depth in this. But what did they do? They wanted to make everything themselves. You can't go out and dig a brick up, right? You have to make a brick. That's man-made.
You can't go to Lowe's and buy one.
Well, not then. You sure couldn't. So what they're doing is they're using all man-made materials to make their item. They would make it all themselves, no stones, no mud, or the like. Man-made items is what they would use. What was their intent? Their intent was to do what?
Make a name.
Make a name for themselves. That's self-glory. Lucifer was cast out of heaven for pride. You want to come over here and have a seat, Elijah? Okay. Lucifer was cast out of heaven for what sin? Pride. He was trying to make a name for himself. He was trying to make himself equal to the Most High. And so if we take a look at here, the citizens of Babel were trying to make a name for themselves. They were guilty of the same crime. It would be what would unite them and keep them together. What would have kept Babel had they been left alone, it wouldn't have been a love of the Most High, a fear of the Most High, a love of the Most High, a living of the law. What would have been what held them together was pride in their country. What's another term in pride for your country? Patriotism. That's a shame, man. We're told to be patriotic, right? On the 4th of July, we're supposed to. How many people shot a bunch of fireworks off? And I am guilty of that one. Patriotism, another word for that. Yah saw the strength they had in this and the danger for them in this self-reliance. It was pride on national, global scale, because it said all the people of the earth. So this ain't like America. This, imagine America, China, Afghanistan, every country. We're all, all about us. We're going to make a name for ourselves. Imagine how dangerous that would have been. Then it said that the Most High scattered across the world and separated, unable to communicate effectively. He confounded their language of all the earth. We're still dealing with that confounded language, because like right now I know a whole lot about computers. But when somebody calls me on the phone, we'll use my dad, granddad as a reference. We're confounded. Woo! Me and him have confounded language because he's an older gentleman and I love him dearly. But he calls and I'm like, hello? He's like, I was on the computer and this thing popped up. What do I do? What does it say? It just pops up. What do I get rid of it? I'm confounded. He's not relating to me what I need to know, and I can't relate to him. You just go over here, you click. If it says this, you do that. You run this program. There's no way to move it. So we're still dealing with that confounded. We still have that struggle. This is what the world looks like today, roughly, right? World map. Well, we believe science, which that's a whole nother, speaking of confounded fools trying to work together. At one point, the world looked like this. Everything was stuck together, and then it got separated. We won't really get into the science thing. That's definitely where we're at now. We're separated, right? And even when you go down, let's look at this little piece of the world right here, the Middle East. If you get over here in the Middle East, you can walk 25 miles and not be able to speak to the guy that lives there. Because they got different tribes, different tribal languages, different tribal dialects. They don't talk. They don't communicate. I got a problem. We live right here, right, in North Carolina. We ain't got to go far up this coast right here till we get to a foreign land called Boston. And they speak a different language where they eat deep fried onion donuts, right? That's kind of funny to us, but that's a confounded language problem, right? And then Sister Leanne, I'm about to say Oregon. Woo. Sister Leanne was from California. And when she came here, we confounded her a lot. Because we just do things differently. Because we're set apart. We're spread out.
She's also scared of spiders.
Scared of spiders. Apparently no spiders there. And so you multiply that across the whole world. Well, imagine if back then, we just assume this map to be accurate. No matter where you were from, I could just walk up and we could communicate and you would know what a deep fried onion donut was.
What deep fried onion donuts?
We would know. We could just be able to communicate openly. There would be no argument. Didn't say they argued, did it? They had no argument. They had no problem. They just worked it out. Boy, the world would be a different place, wouldn't it? All right, so there's immeasurable strength or immeasurable weakness. Only our use of assembly, our use of fellowship, and our focus, our obedience to the Most High can make our combined efforts pleasing to Him. Notice it did not say that when the Most High came down, it didn't say He didn't think their building was nice, did it? It didn't speak to that. It didn't say He didn't think they were capable of finishing it. It said they better do anything they imagine. So I've got to protect them from self-harm. So what sets our efforts apart is our use of those tools which give us strength. And we do those tools we have to use is keeping His laws, His statutes, His commandments in our hearts, which means they'll be reflected in our actions. This part in parentheses here is not for us in the room. It's for whoever might be watching now live or might be watching later. Because a lot of people get confused with, well, it's in my heart, but you can't tell by what I'm doing. Yeah, I can tell that His commandments are not in your heart if we're out getting drunk, smoking dope, prostituting, ignoring our children, screwing one another over, then He's not in us. We know that. Everybody may not. We have to turn from sin, repenting from sin, not lending service to sin. That means we can't be wicked, in short. A lot of people are out putting up what? What are they putting up in their houses right now?
Christmas tree.
Christmas trees. Even though the book of Jeremiah specifically says, do not do that. So, we cannot lend ourselves to that. We can't go out and work at the strip club and then be a saint the rest of the time. Because you're either living righteous or you're not. We have to be a light to the world. In order to do that, we have to live set apart. We can't conform to the way of the world. I have this problem now. I'm struggling with it. I'm sure I'm seeing that you are. I flipped through the radio dial. Sister Kim dropped the bomb on me the other day. She was listening to the radio on the news. When we got back in the car, what was that song? Holly Jolly Christmas, I think it was. Got in the car, have a holly jolly Christmas. And I was like, and let me tell you. That song was in my brain. The rest of the night, all I saw was Bird Live with a fat snowman running around. Anybody else have a problem?
Yep.
So we got to make sure we refrain from that. Accept Jesus the Christ, who was the Word made flesh. And so we're told that the law was done away with by the world, right? Law was done away with. Well, Christ was the Word made flesh. So the law was the Torah. I don't believe Christ was done with, not my opinion. And so that's what we have to do so we can use immeasurable strength and not come up with immeasurable weakness. If me and the two brother Jameses decide on Sabbath night we're going to go out to the strip club, chuck back some liquor, get drunk, and then show up for broadcast of straightways, bloodshot eyes hung over, that's going to be a problem. So if we want to be blessed in our efforts, so we have to make sure we use it as immeasurable strength. We must be mindful of keeping this in thought and deed. We want to be blessed with that kind of strength and that kind of unity. What do we got to be able to do? Communicate. Does communicate just mean talk? No, communicates a lot of things. I think everybody in here at some point or another, even the people that have been here the least amount of time, at some point come up and say, oh, you got a phone call and I saw you were upset by it, or I saw it bothering you, or somebody will say something to me out in the world and some brothers will be out with me and they kind of glance over there at me because they saw the person light the fuse on the bomb and they just waiting for the mouth to engage. We communicate. We communicate by knowing each other. We have to share a common journey. Is anybody on the journey here other than me? I'm on a journey. Who are you on your way to your journey to, Trinity? The kingdom, right? New Jerusalem. Everybody here on that journey, right? We got to share it. If you're interested in going to Vegas, out to the Wynn Resort and shooting some craps, if that's your goal, you go in a different angle than I am. So we have to share a journey. What else do we have to do according to the word in several locations? We got to dwell together. That don't mean we got to be in the same house. That's mostly for the world out there to see because they get confused. It just means in the same area. The people in the Genesis, they came to a plain, right? A plain's a big place. They say, hey, let's dwell here. So you have to be close. You can't live in California, and I live here, and we communicate. We can halfway communicate now with technology, but we're not going to get any good communication. We have to meet. We have to get some FaceTime and trust. We got to agree on projects and the details of it. How many people here would like to open a place where we could feed the hungry once a week, a big meal? Could we agree on that project? That'd be pretty easy, right? Would it be all right for your mama to go out and start stripping so we could pay for it?
No.
Oh, so that'd be the details wouldn't work, right? How about we all go get a job at Walmart? We're going to work on the Sabbath so we get some money to do it. No. That's out of order, right? So we got to agree on both the project and the details. And they have to jive with what? The word, right? Yes, sir.
You know the little abandoned mall thing where we feed sometimes?
Yes, sir.
Think about that.
Yeah, well, if the Most High provides the money, we'll jump on it. We got to focus on using Yah's provided means, not overcomplicating. Ooh, I almost didn't even put that comma almost became a period. Anybody know somebody here that typically overcomplicates things? All right, who? I see a lot of fingers and eyes pointing this way. I do. That's why I have almost a period. Because I want to make sure it works right. And so we have to be careful. I have to be careful. You have to be careful. Don't overcomplicate things. He will provide a means to get it done. It doesn't necessarily have to be a complicated means. It could be a very simple one. We just have to be mindful and aware of that. We got to focus on keeping the glory to Him and not self-promotion. People of Babel wanted to do what?
Self-promotion.
Make
A name for themselves.
Make a name for themselves. They wanted to be famous. They wanted to be big time. Ego. We want to make sure we keep the glory to
Him.
Right. We got to set aside personal pride, envy, and the such. Well, what does that mean?
We don't want other people's stuff. Think that you're better.
Right. I can't come in and say, well, you know what? I did A, B, and C today, and you only did A and B. Because that's how the devil gets a foothold. Oh, well, you did 2 more pieces of wood off the trailer than he did. Well, that may be. We have to be mindful of that. We got to make sure personal pride and envy and things like that, we don't let the enemy get a foothold. You know, a fish hook is not very big, right? But if I take that fish hook and I stick it in my lip, guess what? That fish hook's going to rule my whole body. Because when you pull that string, I'm going to fall because it's going to hurt. Knowing that no such thing as self-reliance exists. Boy, there's some people out there watching this that are going, I know Mike Holland did not say that. Self-reliance, what? Does not exist, right? Only reliance, protection, and the provision provided through Yah. That's the only hope we have. So does that mean we can just say, screw it, we ain't got to put no food aside? We just sit on the couch, play Xbox, sleep, drink us a beer, and everything will be good. We don't need to keep no chickens, we don't need no fence, we don't even need to lock a door, right? No, because he tells us that we need to prepare. But never are we masters of our own providence. That's not how it operates. We're His people. Alright, so any questions on Bible? Very short story. We're only talking about 9 verses. But there's a lot of wisdom in those 9 verses. And a lot of things that we can learn immensely from to avoid pain and complications to ourselves. A lot of things we're still paying for because we don't always communicate well. There's a lot of different things that get in the way. These slides will be available if y'all want to see them again. Anybody got any questions?
Me, sir.
That's what it was called, Babel. Alright, so this week we're going to have homework. Let's pray, read your Bible, study your Bible, serve the Most High, and fellowship. We should better cover that homework easy, right?
We have fellowship.
We should better cover that homework. Alright, let's close with a word of prayer. Who'd like to close us?
You want to try?
No, would you like to close us?
Thank you for this day and this night and this prayer and this Bible study and everybody being here in this neighborhood.
Amen. Amen. Shalom, everybody.
Don't turn it off.